Hello friends and neighbors. Hey, somebody had asked me, it's been a good while back now, on one of my videos, if I would do a video on van expenses and getting started and all of that. And I'll be honest, I'm just gonna turn on the camera and just kind of shoot from the hip and talk from my experience. There's folks out there that'll break it down for you down to the penny and all of that, and I'll be honest, I'm not that guy. I will tell you what I know and what I have learned from my experience. And everybody's situation is going to be a little bit different, but here's, from my perspective and my experience, here's kind of some of the expenses as far as buying your van. So you're going to buy a van, whether it be a Sprinter, a Transit, a ProMaster, whatever, and you're probably, if you're buying new, which I highly recommend buying a new one, mainly because of the number of miles you're going to put on it. You're going to put anywhere from 100 to 130,000 miles a year on a van. So if you buy one that's already got 100,000 miles, I mean, that's a year's worth of driving. But anyway, you're probably going to pay at the bottom end somewhere around $40,000. More realistically, you're probably going to be around 43 to 45,000, somewhere in that neighborhood, if you're not doing anything crazy, right, for a van. So if you are going to finance that van and you don't have a ton of money to put down, you're probably looking at somewhere around $700 a month for a van payment, somewhere in that neighborhood, right? Your insurance, your commercial insurance, depending on where you get it, whether it's supplied through a carrier or you get it on your own. I know this is going to vary, and some people are going to say, oh, I'm only paying this much, or I'm only paying that much. But if you'll budget for about, if you'll budget for $150 a week, I know that's on the high side, but if you'll do that, you'll be okay, because it's not going to be far from that. It's going to be pretty close to that. It's going to be close to $600 a month, or a little better in a lot of cases. I know there's exceptions. I know there's exceptions, but that's budget for around $600 a month for your insurance. In the question that somebody asked, and forgive me, I don't remember who it was, but they had said something about licensing and I don't, different things. If you are driving a van, unless your carrier, if you sign on to a carrier, unless they require it, you don't have to have a CDL. You're under 10,000 pounds, so there's really not, it's like super easy to get into it. That's why you see so many vans out here, because it's really, the cost of entry is pretty low. You go out and buy a vehicle and you can get into it. So there's really not any other fees. I'm trying to think. You buy your vehicle, you pay for your insurance. Now, again, if you're going to sign on to a large carrier, a lot of these large carriers will have their own insurance company, and they will likely require you to use their insurance company, and so they'll deduct your insurance from your weekly settlement, or whatever carrier you sign on with does that. Now, if you choose to go on a load board, use a individual dispatcher or something like that, not sign on with a major carrier, then insurance is probably just up to you. You'll look around and find insurance. Now, If that's the case, then you probably have to get your DOT or MCC number in order to get commercial insurance. Now that can be very expensive until your MCC has kind of aged a while. A lot of people will buy a van if they want to go out on their own. A lot of times people will buy a van, lease on with a carrier for maybe a couple years, maybe 3 years. In the meantime, they will get their MCC and let it age in order to get the insurance rates down for when they want to go out on their own. I can't speak to that a lot because I've always leased to a carrier, to the same carrier, and that's just the way I like to do it. They chase the loads, they chase the money. I may get a little less per mile than I could get if I was chasing my own loads. I mean, I know there's guys out there that are getting more money per mile, but my miles are fairly consistent, and when I stop, I can rest. I don't have to chase the loads. But anyway, that's up to each individual. So kind of back on point, your startup cost. Gosh, buying your van is by far and away your largest startup cost. Again, if you sign on to a carrier, your insurance is probably just going to be deducted from your settlement each week. It's pretty simple. Now, I've been in transportation for over 20 years, truck driving. I've done dispatching. I've done this expediting for quite a few years. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm not overlooking something that seems simple, that if you're just starting out, maybe isn't common knowledge, but I don't think so. Somebody will chime in here if I'm overlooking something major. I'm sure. As far as the money you're going to make, what are your goals? This is what I would say. What are your goals? If you are looking to make more and more money, well, let's say you're working a job somewhere for $12 an hour. Yeah, this is gonna look like a lot of money to you probably. If you are looking to build wealth, you can't do it like I'm doing it. You can't go out there with one van, and you're gonna have to put on multiple vans, and hire drivers and do it that way. You can make a pretty good living doing this with just one van, as long as you enjoy the lifestyle. I mean, that's the biggest part of it. You have to kind of enjoy it. If you come out here and you hate being on the road, or you hate the long hours of driving or whatever, then don't do it, because there's other things you can be doing. But can you gross $100,000 a year? Sure, you can. Can you live a pretty carefree lifestyle and come out and just work for a week or two and take a week or more off and make less money, maybe 75 grand a year? And now this is gross, before your expenses, so you're not talking about a ton of money, but yes, you can do that, and just live a different kind of lifestyle than punching a clock from 8 to 5 every day. Anyway, I don't know if this was very informative. I know there's sometimes there's people out there that think about this stuff a lot more than I do, and will and can can comment and give, straighten me out where I'm wrong. But anyway, that's I don't know if that answered all the questions, but there they are. I'll try to put that in a nutshell. It's so simple. You go out and you buy you a van. You spend, say, 45 grand on a van. We're just going to say you're kind of starting from scratch, so you're going to have a $700 a month van payment, approximately, right? You are going to, let's say, sign on with a carrier. That carrier is going to take out, let's just say, $130 a week for your insurance, okay? So, you got a $700 a month van payment, $600 a month insurance payment, $1,300 a month. Now you've got your fuel, which is going to be your largest expense. There's a lot of money going out for sure. Your taxes are pretty good because you can write all of this stuff off. If you're driving a van, I highly recommend using the mileage deduction rather than writing off your depreciation on the van. You'll be able to write off somewhere between $50,000 and $60,000 a year on just the mileage, and then whatever your other write-offs are on top of that. But not tax advice. I am certainly not a tax person. I'm just giving you my experience. But if you do mileage, if you write off mileage, you're going to probably be writing off between $50,000 and $60,000 a year. And then you've got your per diem and all of that. So, your tax liability is going to be pretty minimal. What else? I don't think anything else. Weekly driving, depending on who you sign on with, what the economy's doing, your availability for service and all of that. If you look at what the rates are right now, the van rates, I know there's some guys out there claiming $1.20 and all of that. Figure on somewhere just under $1 a mile. If you'll always estimate low, for instance, if you'll estimate your expenses and your revenue at 85 or 90 cents a mile, then you'll be okay. Because hopefully you'll be running for a little bit more than that. Hopefully you'll be running while you're out and available. Hopefully you'll be running at least 2,500 miles a week. You may have weeks where you may have a week where you run 4,500 miles. You may have a week where you only run 1,500 miles, because you got stuck somewhere. It's certainly not consistent. There's nothing about this that's consistent, but it's kind of about the lifestyle, and if you enjoy it, make the best of it. If you decide to do it and you want to get out and travel and look at the world, then make the best of it. Get out and see what you can see, enjoy it. I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm rambling a lot. I know I am. But anyway, all right, I'm going to shut this thing off. There you go. Thanks. Everybody be safe out there.